Time to test out the Xiaomi 15 Pro. I thought this would be a good location for it. Alright, time to test out the Xiaomi 15 Pro. Currently battery life is at 67%. Should be fine honestly, because so far battery life has been good. But this is the start of the tip itself, just to showcase battery life progress during shooting here. Now we're definitely going to play around here with styles, of course, when it comes to the Xiaomi 15 Pro, and I'll show you why in a little bit in the video itself. Here what I'm doing again is using something like depth, so it just looks a lot more trying to like a better quality, if that makes sense, because you just give the illusion that it's a DSLR if you use something like this, because it just adds a lot of depth to the shot itself. What I'm really happy with as addition is when I do this by accident, when trying to of course press that side, sometimes it happens that you do this, especially with video recording. This is a huge benefit that right now, doing so you get these quick toggles still there. That's a huge benefit, and it really helps with just quick use of the camera itself. Alright, testing the front-facing camera again a little bit later. It's a little bit more of dynamic range. Ooh, it's candy. Anyway, when it comes to the camera itself, the performance so far, it seems really solid. However, I do miss the 3.2 times zoom, like the floating lens. It's really nice for like certain shots, and it isn't zoomed in as much. But apart from that, when it comes to like the performance of the camera, seems solid. Dynamic range, but front-facing camera, so don't really care that much, and often dynamic range isn't like my driving force for a camera review, because sometimes it can really look unnatural if dynamic range is too good. Anyway, let's continue some shooting. Now, before we continue with the video itself, let's quickly also look at the specifications. We get a 6.73-inch AMOLED display with a refresh rate of 120Hz and a peak brightness of 3200 nits and a 1440 panel. When it comes to, of course, the CPU, we get the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Configurations is 12GB of RAM up to 16GB of RAM, and when it comes to the memory configuration, you get 256GB up to 1TB. And then the battery, it's a 6100 mAh battery with 90W wired charging, 50W wireless charging and 10W reverse wireless charging. That battery size is something that we won't even see on, of course, the 15 Ultra based on the current leaks. Something else that is worth noting, we now have an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, but it isn't the second generation from, of course, Qualcomm. That one is still my favorite by far. With that out of the way, let's continue the video and see what the Xiaomi 15 Pro is capable of when it comes to its camera. Now, when it comes to the camera setup, we get a 50MP main sensor with an f-stop of 1.4, 23mm equivalent and a 1/1.31 inch sensor size. We get a 50MP periscope, which has an f-stop of 2.5 and it's 120mm equivalent. We also have a 50MP ultra wide, which has an f-stop of 2.2 and 14mm equivalent. You will see, however, within this there's one lens missing, and that is of course the floating lens. When it comes to video recording, it goes up to 8K and 30 frames per second, and of course you can go 4K up to 60 frames per second. When it comes to the front-facing camera, we get a 32MP sensor with an f-stop of 2.0, 22mm equivalent, and max video recording 4K 60 frames per second. Again, using depth here, create some effects in it, and I could potentially do like a sepia as such. And create that filter on top of it, or that effect. Alright, a little bit further now. I'm at 58%. Start at 65, not 67%. So far, shooting, battery life is holding up quite well. Gonna of course have to test it more, but so far so good when it comes to battery life. Really love the contrast there, and of course you get like the books here in the reflection, so I like that. Let's see. Like this is one of the better places. You have that little yellow hue. I really love it. Like a really nice contrast. And of course you can create like leaning lights with the ceiling and the floor as well, which is really nice. Maybe if I center a shot like this as well. This is the perfect scene for like a sepia. It has like that Titanic kind of vibe. See what I mean? And then after I edit it, make it look like really old school, it will look really cool. What I really like here is the contrast with the darker shadows. I could probably edit this really nicely as well. It's going to be a hard point of view, so I'm just going to record it in advance. I want to create like this kind of shot.
So the Xiaomi 15 Pro, again, this is not going to be released globally. This is a China exclusive and maybe some other Asian markets. But when it comes to the Xiaomi 15 Pro, there's a lot that is really appealing about it. For instance, the 6100 mAh battery is something that I love on the phone itself. Battery life so far has been really solid. And when it comes to the camera, it depends a little bit per shot. I really like the color calibration. However, you can tell there's a difference between the main sensor and the ultra wide by some margin, especially with some inside shots at Paleis head low. I feel like there you can tell huge difference between those two in terms of the colors, and I feel like that calibration should have been better. When it comes to the overall experience, it's a fast phone. The fingerprint scanner is really nice. However, I do have a glass installed by now, and then it really doesn't work properly anymore because this screen protector for some reason just doesn't want to have that properly done. I don't know why, but there is a segment that should allow for the fingerprint scanner, but for some reason it doesn't work. Also, something that I've noticed, I try to use, of course, GPS to simulate more of a experience of my day in life when it comes to traveling to locations and so on. But the GPS didn't work. It just got stuck on the place that I was at. So that's something that I also noticed while using the phone itself. Apart from that, there really isn't much that I have when it comes to complaints about the Xiaomi 15 Pro. I think this is an excellent device, and if you don't want to, for instance, pay as much for the upcoming Xiaomi 15 Ultra or get something smaller like the Xiaomi 15 Pro, then something like this might do you really well. Though I will say it's a real miss to not see the 3.2 times zoom on this one with that floating lens technology, because I really love that lens, even though it could lead to a smaller battery and therefore battery size decrease as well when you add that extra sensor. So let me know what you think about that one. Either way, before we end, I really want to thank Mani because he actually sent over the device so I can test it out. It's going back to him soon. I'm gonna do a comparison with the X200 Pro, for instance, as well, and probably the 14 Ultra. But when it comes to the possibility of it, thank you very much, Mani. I really do appreciate the opportunity to test it out and to showcase what this camera is capable of. Now, before we leave, I also want to thank my members. Thank you very much for the support that you guys have been giving me. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. And if you want to become a member, you can by clicking join somewhere below. Of course, you don't have to, but of course, it's always appreciated. Either way, at the end, I really think that the Xiaomi 15 Pro is a really nice device. But let me know what you think. And let me know what you think about the video itself by dropping a like, comment below. And of course, watch the full video. And of course, if you aren't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe. Either way, have a good one and talk to you guys in the next.